Why does time feel like it flows? The science of time and the human experience time is one of those things that feels incredibly familiar. A dimension that carries us from one moment to the next every day of our lives. Yet when scientists, philosophers, and thinkers pause to define what time actually is, the answer becomes surprisingly complex. Time is not just a measure on a clock. It emerges in physics, biology, psychology, and human meaning. A layered reality that we both observe and live. This article explores why time feels like it flows, how science describes it, and why human minds interpret it in the ways they do. Along the way, we connect these insights to a profound idea from humans, Actuators of Time by J.J. Simon. Time is not only a feature of the universe, it is also shaped by how humans perceive and interpret change. Time as a physical parameter in physics. Time is a coordinate, a variable used to describe how events unfold in relation to one another. In classical mechanics, time was once thought to be universal and absolute. But since Einstein's theory of relativity, that picture has changed dramatically. In relativity, time is linked with space in a four-dimensional continuum called space-time. The passage of time depends on motion and gravity, faster motion or stronger. Gravity means clocks tick more slowly relative to other observers. There is no single, universal now shared by everyone in the cosmos. This means that time in physics is not a flowing river. It is a framework for measurement and comparison, a way to situate events so that we can say before or after and quantify change. How clocks measure time, but don't define it. Modern clocks, from quartz watches to atomic clocks, measure time by counting repetitive physical processes. Atomic clocks, which track the vibrations of atoms like cesium, define the second with extraordinary precision. These measurements are powerful and useful. They coordinate international time standards, govern satellite navigation, and underpin global communication. But clocks do not create time. They measure intervals between events. The fact that clocks can disagree, for instance, one clock near a massive object running slower than one far away, tells us that clocks measure relative time dependent on conditions, not an independently flowing substance. So if clocks don't define time, what does? Entropy and the direction of time. One of the most fundamental questions about time is, why does time appear to move in one direction, from past to future? Physics offers a clue through entropy, a concept from thermodynamics that describes the degree of disorder in a system. The second law of thermodynamics states that entropy tends to increase in a closed system. This gives time a directionality. Systems evolve from less probable to more probable states. Processes that increase entropy are common. Those that decrease it are vanishingly unlikely. A broken egg does not spontaneously reassemble. This statistical arrow of time, the direction in which disorder increases, offers a physical reason why time seems to flow forward in everyday life, even if the fundamental equations are symmetric. But entropy still doesn't explain why we feel time passing the way we do. The human mind and the feeling of flow. Physics can describe how time behaves in the universe, but it does not account for our subjective experience of time. The sense that it flows, speeds up, slows down, or stretches depending on circumstance. Our experience of time emerges from the brain's functioning. Memory anchors events into a narrative sequence, a before and after. Attention affects how moments feel. Heightened attention makes time feel dense, while distraction can make it feel thin. Prediction and anticipation orient us toward future possibilities and shape how we move through time. Emotion tags moments with intensity, making certain periods stand out in recollection. This psychological experience of time is not a measure recorded by a clock. It is a felt dimension produced by cognitive processes. The present moment, a construct of awareness. One of the biggest puzzles about time is the way humans experience the present. Physics treats all moments on equal footing. There is no privileged slice of now in relativity. Yet within our consciousness, the present seems vivid, immediate, and uniquely real. This suggests that the present moment is not a feature of the external universe, but a construct of the human mind. Our brains create a continuity of sensation and interpretation that glues past, present and future into a coherent experience. This perceptual present does not reflect a fundamental physical reality, but a cognitive reality, one that emerges because it works for living systems that need to act, learn, and adapt. Humans as actuators of time. This brings us to a crucial insight. Humans do more than move through time. They shape how time is lived and understood. According to humans, actuators of time, time is not just a passive dimension in which humans exist. Instead, humans actively organize experiences into narratives. Memory gives shape and texture to the past. Anticipation gives direction to the future. Attention creates vividness in the present. In this view, time becomes not something we merely observe, but something we participate in, through memory, meaning, and conscious interpretation. Humans turn sequences of change into stories with direction and emotional weight. Time's two faces, external and internal. To fully understand time, it helps to recognize two distinct faces of time. External time, described by physics, measured by clocks, structured by space-time relationships. Internal time, felt by conscious beings, shaped by memory. Attention, emotion, experienced as sequence, flow, and meaning both are real in their domains, but they function differently. One provides a universal framework for change. The other provides a lived context for experience. Why this matters. Understanding time in this layered way has significant implications. It shows why scientific and subjective views of time can differ without contradiction. It clarifies why time can feel elastic in experience but rigid in measurement. It highlights the role of consciousness in giving shape and significance to temporal sequences. It bridges physics and psychology, revealing time as both external structure and internal interpretation. Time is not just measured, it is lived, and it is in this living, remembering, anticipating, paying attention, creating stories, that humans become active participants in the unfolding of time. Conclusion. Time as relationship time is not simply a flowing river carrying us forward. It is a relationship between change, memory, experience, and interpretation. It is a coordinate in space-time, a measurable sequence of events, a direction shaped by entropy A. Psychological fabric woven by awareness time exists in equations and clocks, but it also exists in minds. And where minds engage with change, time becomes a tapestry of meaning.